Hello, and a heartfelt welcome to Dr. Laura's Health Haven. I'm Dr. Laura, your companion on this incredible journey to thriving as we age, and today I'm so excited to share something with you that could truly transform how you experience your golden years. You're not alone in wondering this. I've had 74-year-old men and 21-year-old women sit in my office asking the same thing. What if the habit you keep hidden? Does your doctor know? Dr. Laura Locke is the very thing that could save your life. I've sat across from hundreds of men, strong men, wise men, men who've built families, careers, entire legacies, who all eventually ask me one question. Dr. Laura, Dr. Shenwi, should I be doing this at my age? They're talking about self-pleasure, not in whispers, not in shame, but with raw vulnerability, because they've heard it's wrong, or maybe dangerous, and yet, they can't ignore what their body still quietly asks for. And here's what I tell them, what I want to tell you right now. Your desire didn't retire. Your body didn't forget. And no, you're not perverted. You're not broken. You're human. We've been taught to treat this part of ourselves like a dirty secret, but what if it's not a secret at all? What if it's actually medicine? Think about this. Have you noticed how some men in their late 70s are still hiking mountains, laughing with their grandkids, sharp as a tack? While others in their 60s look like they've already given up. Is it just genetic? Just luck? Or is something deeper at play? I want you to imagine John, one of my patients. He's 72, a former mechanic, widowed, still tough as nails. But when he came into my office last year, he wasn't the man he used to be. He felt sluggish, fuzzy in the head, like his life was playing in slow motion. We ran the labs, his testosterone was low, his sleep was broken, his stress hormones were sky high, but more than that, he said something I'll never forget. I just don't feel like a man anymore. And so, we talked. About self-tick, about pleasure, about reconnecting, not with fantasy, but with his own vitality. 6 months later, his blood pressure dropped. His sleep returned. He started fixing up his old motorcycle again, but more than that, he smiled. Really smiled. You tell me. Was that dirty? Or was it healing? So I'll ask you. From one human to another, when was the last time you felt alive in your own skin? What beliefs have you carried that told you pleasure had an expiration date? Drop it in the comments. No judgment, just honesty. Because today, we're not whispering anymore. We're breaking silence with science. And it starts with understanding what's actually happening inside your body. Let's talk about your prostate. You don't see it, you don't feel it every day, but make no mistake, it's a gatekeeper of your long-term health. The prostate is a small gland, roughly the size of a walnut, located just below your bladder. Its job? To produce seminal fluid. But what most men don't realize is how deeply it's connected to urinary function, sexual performance, and even cancer risk. And here's the hard truth. As you age, your prostate enlarges. That's not always dangerous, but it can lead to serious problems. Difficulty urinating, interrupted sleep, pain, and yes, even prostate cancer, the second most common cancer in men worldwide. But there's something else you need to hear. A Harvard study published in the journal European Urology followed over 30,000 men for almost 2 decades. The results? Men who ejaculated 21 times or more per month had a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer, compared to those who did it less than 7 times. Let that sink in. This isn't hearsay. This is peer-reviewed medical data from one of the world's leading research institutions. Still think this is just about pleasure? Let me tell you about Tom, 76, another patient of mine. He hadn't touched himself in years, said it felt wrong after his wife passed, but his symptoms started piling up. Frequent urination, groin discomfort, emotional fog. We began a new conversation, one rooted in science, not shame. He started gently reintroducing touch, 2, maybe 3 times a week. And within months, his symptoms eased. His doctor even noted improvement in his prostate-specific antigen, PSA levels. Coincidence? Maybe, but the science says otherwise. Here's why. Every time you engage in healthy self-pleasure, you're not just releasing fluid, you're flushing the system, you're keeping the prostate muscles active, reducing inflammation, and encouraging hormonal balance. Your testosterone rises, your oxytocin soothes your nervous system, your blood flow surges, feeding the brain, the heart, the pelvic region, and here's something most men don't realize. Erections themselves, even without orgasms, stimulate the endothelial cells in your blood vessels, keeping your entire cardiovascular system healthier. That's right, a habit you might feel guilty about is actually protecting your heart. If someone told you that 21 orgasms a month could protect your prostate, would you believe them? Because that's not a rumor, that's a real conclusion from a long-term, peer-reviewed Harvard study, one that tracked over 31,925 men for nearly 18 years. And what they found was jaw-dropping. Men who ejaculated frequently, about 4 to 5 times a week, had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer, especially as they aged. Now let's be clear, this wasn't about reckless indulgence. It wasn't about addiction. It was about regular, healthy release, whether through partnered intimacy or self-pleasure. Think about that for a moment. A habit that's been shamed, mocked, even punished in some cultures. Is now proven to be a preventative health measure, so the next time someone tells you it's just a bad habit, ask them if they've read European urology, because I have, and the evidence is louder than the shame. Let me tell you about Raymond, 68. Former school principal, devoted grandfather. Always active, always sharp. He came to see me after reading an article about the Harvard study. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Dr. Laura, I've been doing this for decades, but I always felt weird about it. Until now." We ran his labs. His PSA levels were stable, his sleep patterns, solid. His testosterone was slightly lower, as expected with age, but still remarkably healthy, he told me. "I don't know if it's the walking, the green tea, or the orgasms, but I'm not stopping any of them." And why should he? We know that ejaculation increases pelvic blood flow, flushes toxins, and may reduce inflammation. Some theories even suggest it helps clear out harmful secretions that can otherwise build up in the prostate. But beyond the mechanics, there's something more personal I want to ask you. How often do you connect with your body with intention, not guilt? Have you ever explored your habits without shame, but with scientific curiosity? If you're a woman watching this, you might be thinking, okay, Dr. Laura, interesting info. But what does this have to do with me? The answer? Everything. Because prostate health isn't just a man's issue. It's a relationship issue, a communication issue, a confidence issue. When your partner's afraid to touch himself or hides it or feels ashamed of it, guess what? It shows up in your conversations, your intimacy, even in the quiet distance that sometimes grows between you. Let me tell you about Mary, 65, who came to me in tears. "My husband doesn't touch me anymore. I think he's ashamed of his body, and I don't know how to help." I asked her gently, "Does he still touch himself?" She went quiet, then said, "He does. But he hides it like it's a crime." And that's the moment we started healing. Not just his health, but their connection. Because when we bury our natural urges under guilt, we bury a part of ourselves. And that disconnect doesn't stay private, it affects the people we love. If you're watching this and you're in a relationship, listen closely. Encouraging healthy self-pleasure in your partner isn't a betrayal, it's not a threat, it's an act of love. Why? Because it keeps the body engaged, the hormones balanced, and the emotional channels open. When your partner is connected to themselves, they become more present with you. And for the men, hiding this part of yourself does not make you stronger. It makes you more distant, more irritable, more at war with your own biology. So here's a question for both of you. When was the last time you talked about self-pleasure without shame? Have you ever explored what intimacy looks like in your 50s, 60s, or 70s? Not in comparison to your 30s, but in celebration of your now. This is the conversation I want you to have tonight, in your journal, in your thoughts, or, if you're brave enough, with your partner. Let's rewrite what connection looks like after 50, after loss, after kids, after change. Because the body may age, but your capacity for curiosity, sensation, and connection is ageless. Drop a comment below if this touched something in you. If you've been carrying silence around this topic, today is the day to let it go. Let's pause and talk about balance. Because while self-pleasure can be a path to healing, connection, and even disease prevention, there's a line, and I want to help you recognize it before it becomes a problem. I've had men come into my office afraid. Not because they were doing it too little, but because they couldn't seem to stop. Like David, 41. He wasn't old, but he felt worn out. In the age of distraction, we may need to some years more often than not, desensitize, every day, sometimes twice, and I don't even enjoy it anymore. It's like brushing my teeth, but afterward I feel, emptier. When we dug deeper, we found the root wasn't desire. It was stress, loneliness, boredom, excessive stimulation, especially in the age of high-speed internet and instant gratification, can desensitize your brain. It floods your system with dopamine, the feel-good hormone, but over time, that thrill fades. You need more to feel the same. It's not pleasure anymore, it's a compulsion. Science backs this up. The Cleveland Clinic has studied how compulsive sexual behavior affects the brain. It shows patterns similar to addiction. Reward centers light up, but self-control dims. That leads to guilt, irritability, and in some cases, sexual dysfunction. Yes, you can actually lose the ability to enjoy touch when it's overused or paired with too much mental stimulation and too little emotional connection. So let's ask an honest question. Why do you touch yourself? Is it connection? Curiosity? Care? Or is it escape? This isn't about shaming you, it's about checking in. Because your body knows the difference. Healthy masturbation leaves you feeling grounded, relaxed, refreshed. Unhealthy patterns leave you drained, anxious, disconnected from others. There's a simple guideline I share with my patients. If your self-pleasure enhances your day, it's likely healthy. If it replaces connection, causes guilt, or feels compulsive, it's time to reflect. Mark, 55, said it best. I thought more meant better, but I was just numbing out. When I slowed down, I actually started feeling more. Let's talk about what happens when you get it right. When masturbation becomes a mindful act, not an escape, but a celebration of being alive, your body responds in remarkable ways. Here's what the research says. Endorphins flood your system. These are your body's natural painkillers, easing everything from arthritis to headaches to that tension behind your eyes. Oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, is released. It calms your nervous system, lowers cortisol, your stress hormone, and improves sleep. Testosterone rises temporarily, supporting your muscle mass, bone density, and even libido, all of which naturally decline with age. Blood flow increases. Your brain, heart, and pelvic region all get a rush of oxygen-rich blood. That keeps your neurons sharp and your prostate tissue nourished. Sleep gets deeper. A 2020 review published in Frontiers in Psychology showed that orgasm improves sleep onset and quality, especially in older adults with insomnia or anxiety. This isn't fluff, this is biology. Your body is designed to thrive on connection, even if that connection is with yourself. Let me introduce you to Luis, 63, former police officer, strong-willed, skeptical. He came to me after a mild heart scare and said, "I feel disconnected. My body doesn't respond like it used to." I asked him to try something radical, not a new diet, not a pill, but 15 minutes, twice a week, alone, no goal, no pressure, just breath and touch. At first he rolled his eyes, but after 3 weeks, his words, "I feel younger, not in the mirror, in here." We checked in 6 months later. His blood pressure was down, his mood steadier, his intimacy with his wife improved. He didn't become a different man, he just became more himself. This is what I want for you. To stop seeing self-pleasure as a secret, to start seeing it as self-care. What would shift in your life if you touched your body with kindness, not guilt? Could you give yourself permission to feel good, without apology? Now let's talk about something we often avoid. What happens when your body isn't responding the way it used to? You see, just like brushing your teeth or stretching in the morning, sexual health has signals. Subtle, quiet at first, but if you ignore them, they get louder and more complicated. Here's what I want you to watch for. Pain or discomfort during or after self-pleasure. Sudden loss of sensitivity or pleasure. a shift from pleasure into shame or emotional numbness, a drop in erection quality or difficulty maintaining arousal, a sense that you're doing it out of habit, not desire, guilt that lingers or starts affecting your relationships. Now, don't panic. None of these symptoms means you're broken, but they do mean your body is speaking. Take Carl, 66, retired electrician. For years he avoided intimacy, both with his wife and with himself. He chalked it up to getting older, but inside he felt lost. His erections weren't as strong, he had a strange ache in his lower back, and a creeping anxiety he couldn't explain. When we finally ran tests, he had chronic prostatitis, a condition that often goes undiagnosed in older men. The cause? Years of pelvic tension, inflammation, and yes, a total disconnect from his body's natural rhythm. Here's the beautiful part. After gentle physical therapy, a return to regular, relaxed self-touch, and a pelvic floor strengthening plan, Carl told me, I feel like someone turned the lights back on in my body. That's the power of listening early, before things fall apart. Let me share a bit of science. A 2022 review in the Journal of Men's Health found that men who stopped all forms of sexual activity after age 60 had accelerated risks of cognitive decline, prostate inflammation, erectile dysfunction, and even depression. This isn't about keeping a young man's routine, it's about keeping your system in motion. Like oiling a machine, your pelvic floor, blood vessels, and hormonal balance all rely on occasional use. When you stop completely, the system begins to rust. So let me ask you, are there any signs your body's been trying to show you? Have you ignored discomfort because you thought it was just aging? So now that we've pulled back the curtain, what's the actual game plan? I've spent over a decade helping men reclaim their vitality, and here's what I've learned. It's not about frequency, it's not about performance, it's about intention, consistency, and care. Let me give you my Prostate Smart Masturbation Blueprint, a 3-part approach that's helped hundreds of men, from their 40s to their 80s, rediscover balance and health. Find your frequency, forget the 21 times a month target for a second. That's an average, not a commandment. Start with 2 to 3 times per week and observe, not just how you feel after, but how you feel the next day. Is your sleep better? Is your mood lighter? Are your joints less achy? Let your body, not society, set the pace. Connect with purpose. No more rushed, distracted, lights off, guilt-driven habits. That's not health, that's stress. Instead, turn it into a ritual. Light a candle, take a warm shower, use a soft blanket or music you enjoy. This is not about finishing fast. It's about giving your nervous system a chance to breathe. Remember, your skin is your largest organ. Every touch tells your brain, I am safe, I am alive. Balance with movement plus stillness. Masturbation isn't a magic bullet. It works best alongside light exercise like walking or yoga, deep breathing or meditation, a balanced diet with zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D. All these support testosterone, blood flow, and prostate tissue health. Let me introduce Frank, 59. Accountant, sedentary for most of his adult life. He started walking 15 minutes a day, stretching in the evenings, and followed this blueprint twice a week. 4 months later, his doctor asked, what changed? Frank's testosterone had increased, his mood was better. He was sleeping 7 hours for the first time in years. And the best part? He felt proud of himself again. That's what I want for you. Not just a routine, but a relationship with your body. So let me ask, what day this week could you try this blueprint? What would it feel like to give yourself just 30 minutes, free from guilt, full of care? We've pulled back the curtain on a topic most people won't even whisper about. And you stayed. That means something. It means you're ready, not just for information, for transformation. Let me be clear. This isn't about trying to become who you were at 25. This is about reclaiming the man or woman you are now, today, with every wrinkle, every lesson, every heartbeat that says, I'm still here. Your body is not the enemy. Your desire is not shameful. And your prostate, that quiet walnut-sized gland, deserves more than silence. You've learned that science supports regular, intentional self-pleasure as a form of prostate care, stress relief, hormonal balance, and heart health. A Harvard study proved that ejaculation 21 times a month lowers prostate cancer risk by up to 33%. Compulsive or guilt-driven habits can hurt, but mindful touch heals. And above all, connection to your own body is not indulgence. It's medicine. Let me tell you about Tom, 76. Bless his soul. He once said to me, "Dr. Laura, I didn't realize how much I missed feeling human until I touched myself with kindness again." That's the invitation I'm offering you. Not to chase performance, not to hit a number, but to feel human again. To soften into your body without apology, to show up not just for pleasure, but for healing, presence, and purpose. So what now? Start simple. Choose one day this week, just one, set aside 30 minutes. Try the Prostate Smart Blueprint, maybe just the first step. No pressure, just curiosity. Maybe your body says yes, maybe it hesitates. That's okay, you're still listening. And that alone is progress. And if you're still unsure, still carrying fear or shame, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What's the biggest myth about aging or masturbation you grew up believing? What's one thing you're willing to question after this video? Let's talk. Let's break this silence together. Because your future self, the one who sleeps better, laughs deeper, and walks stronger, will thank you for what you start today. And if this message stirred something in you, please like this video, subscribe to join our growing tribe of curious, brave, vibrant people who are rewriting what aging looks like with science, compassion, and courage. This is Dr. Laura, and I want you to remember something. You are not fading, you are becoming, and your body still has more to give when you choose to listen. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of your heart, take care of your body, and don't forget, you're worth it.